Okay, Psycho Chickens of Cyberspace. How are we doing?
Good.
Oh yeah? Are you a cyberspace psycho chicken?
Yeah.
Okay, so while we're getting warmed up, I brought on Athena. She's going to explain to you the little art gift she gave me today. Because life is a gift. All right, take it away, Athena. Explain what's happening.
First of all, we have to change the episode. Big Daddy, Ladybug to Frenchy Bulldog. Okay, we're on Frenchy Bulldog episode. I made this art for my dad. And I made up this constellation, that star, and that moon. Okay, maybe I didn't copy the moon. But I made that constellation so it's like one down and then a straight line.
You gotta show it to him.
Like, I did. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you make the dots. Well, you're supposed to make the dots first. I made up it. And that's how I like it.
Okay, thanks Athena for sharing. We appreciate you.
Change episode to...
Okay, the peepholes are showing up. Good to see you guys.
Bang.
Thank you, Athena.
Welcome, here's your gift.
Oh, thank you. Yes, she gave me this wonderful drawing of a tree and a constellation that she made up. So wonderful. So grateful for her. So welcome to the show, guys. I appreciate you guys so much. A little update on what's going on. Hope you guys enjoyed the breath work earlier. And as usual, you can ask any questions. You just put them in the square box there, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. I'm going to give you an update about everything that I'm hearing about. That's what's going on. And the summation of how I feel about it. Yeah, and I just wanted to bring on Athena because Athena represents joy and so much happiness, and it's just a joy to have her around, and we must never forget that, right? And we must find that joy within ourselves, and I like to say laughter is the best medicine, and so me and Athena, we get some really good jokes going, and so and we just keep each other going. We're both a couple of little psycho chickens. So many of you guys asked me about my blue blockers. These are blue blockers. They help break down all this non-native LED blue light. So it helps me with my sleep at night, helps me lower stress levels, and that's why I wear them. And yeah, a couple of updates before we get started. And feel free to hit this arrow button right here, down here. It looks like a paper airplane. And send this to any of your friends. I guarantee this one will be a good one. Yeah, and always feel free to share my lives or my stories or my stuff if you resonate with it. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you guys. Update on the book. Book's doing amazing. The feedback that you guys have given me has been amazing. Thank you so much. It's pretty hardcore. I got to tell you, it's hardcore. But I will tell you that my wife read it twice. I think she read it before we got remarried, and then we were working on it together, and then we got remarried, and she read it. I think the conclusion at least twice. She cried twice. Or all 3 times, I should say. And then when I didn't get involved with the editing process as much because they're all my stories, and I just wanted to get out there. I didn't want to pick at the perfection, because then the book would have never got out there. So I gave it to all my loved ones and had them read it, close friends, and just make sure my voice and it was coherent and all that stuff was there, and we got good feedback, and now I'm getting the same feedback from you guys. So it moves like a freight train. I'm there to keep your attention. I'm there to entertain your souls. And so one of my greatest fears is boring people. And so So the feedback's been great. So many of you have bought it and supported my work, and of course got the free stress management course. Those of you guys that are being patient for the hardcover, we're having a meeting tomorrow on the hardcover with a couple of publishers, and we'll be pulling that trigger this week and ordering them. We have enough orders to place a large book order, so more can come in and we can mail those out. But the initial has been great, and some people have got the digital and went to Kinko's and printed it out and bound it that way, and they're using it as a workbook as well. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. So one of the reasons why I bought this book was because when I went down to the rainforest the first time, the reason I made this book is because, hey guys, I need you guys to be quiet, please.
Stop it. Take a shower. Throw it. I need you to stop.
Kids are off from school and they're all, it's like Christmas vacation. They're bouncing around. It's 9:00 at night, and so it's like summertime, and so it's great. I actually like them out of school. So the reason I wrote Ripped at 50 is because when I came out of the jungle, when I was going through when I came out of the jungle, I saw all the destruction. I would see the barges. I would see the excuse me. I would see the barges come down the riverways, the tributaries when I was out at Refugio Altiplano, which is very far up, upriver, at least an hour and a half outside of Iquitos on a boat, up this small tributary. And I used to see the barges of trees. There'd be like one or two guys on them, and they'd just be floating them downriver. And I asked Scott Peterson, I said, why are they, do you ever say anything to those guys? And he said, no, a lot of those guys are coca traders, out of work, maybe they're logging. It's like the wild, wild west out there. And Scott had automatic weapons on his property and shotguns and the whole nine, because it's out in the middle of nowhere. And the hippies and the spiritual woo-woos would come out there, and he blasted off his guns at 12 o'clock at night. And the reasoning that he used, because, they'd be like, oh my God, are those guns? Like, what's going on? And it just gave a signal to anyone in the area that if you're thinking of coming up here and robbing some gringos, you're coming to the wrong place. And Scott had lived down there for 20, 25 years, and he'd been working and importing, exporting, and doing all sorts of stuff through the Bolivian Revolution since the 70s. And so he really knew how to take care of himself down there. He walked around with a 9mm, and then he made sure his place was safe for all the pilgrims coming down to drink ayahuasca. And so I asked Scott, I said, hey, what are all those logging barges? I hear the deforestation, the destruction of the Amazon. I said, don't you say anything? He said, no, because guys are coca traders, and you don't know what's going down upriver, and people can come up there and make problems, and he just didn't want any problems. It wasn't his place to say something like that. So when I came to the Amazon River, which was outside of the tributary, there were large barges. These were in the tributaries. They were logs that are just tied together, giant trees. And if you've never heard me explain before, the deforestation of the Amazon, the number one deforestation of the Amazon is oil exploration. I say this because if you look at charts, it'll always say cash crops, right? Cash crops are the end process. What's the cancer to the rainforest is cutting the roads through the jungle with giant bulldozers and big earth moving equipment. And the people that have that type of money can afford to hire Halliburton and Bechtel, these big infrastructure companies that worked for the World Bank, that, you know, they do mercenary work type of things, and they go in anywhere and they'll get the natural resources out of the earth. And sometimes it costs a lot of money to dig through the jungle like that, and there's no oil, or it's too hard to get out of the ground, etc. And so they'll just come out. Well, once the roads are cut, that's like the cancer. Then the Indians, who are given maybe a chainsaw and $1 a day by the oil companies, will go down and fell the big trees. Once the big trees come out, then they burn the bush and they grow cash crops. So that's really how the deforestation was working down there. And I was drinking ayahuasca, and I was, enamored with the energy and the sensuality of the people down there. It was warm, the oxygen was high. I was studying herbal medicine at the time. I was putting these badass plants into my body. Iporuru, which is good to get lactic and uric acid out of the body, so it's good for recovery. This formula is called R+, which is for recovery. And so I just love these plants, man. I megadose these plants for years. There's nothing like that frequency and vibration of wild plants from the center of the Mother Earth, right? Super high frequency birds and insects singing into these things. You got equatorial sun that's just intense. You got survival of the fittest, plants that had to survive through millions of years of ecological development, and insects and fungus and lichen and all these things that are just, it'll eat you and kill you. And if you're a plant, you have to survive through all of that stuff. And so you're looking at the strongest of the strongest, and the ones that are there to, the cure for cancer, and heals diabetes, and the list goes on. Chanca piedra, which is stone breaker. It breaks up excess calculi formation, so it's excellent for breaking up kidney stones and gallstones. That's just one plant. Suma, known as paratodo for everything. It's also known as the Russian secret because it mimics anabolic steroids. Helps with hormonal balance. It's known as Brazilian ginseng. Many, many plants down there, powerhouse plants. And I was lit up on the plants for a year before I even went down there and drank ayahuasca and met the Shipibo Indians. And they were just such soft, not soft, they were just gentle people, right? Gentle people. Because in the Amazon, remember, it's survival of the fittest, so they're very resilient people. And they carry machetes, and they got shotguns down there too. They know how to protect themselves. But for the most part, they're very gentle people. And so, and then I put the ayahuasca into my body. And it's like drinking a cup of historical nature, right? It goes from the mineral kingdom through the plant kingdom, all the way up into the astral plane, right? It goes through the whole lineage of time and space, basically. And, I drank that, and at the time, Bush was in power, and there was a plane going over above my head after a night of ayahuasca when you're completely blasted wide open, and you can feel the world, right? You're in the middle of the jungle. You're in a raw state. The filters have been dismantled. And you're out in the middle of the woods by yourself, right? And you're in a nice house or a nice jungle house. But you hear the leaves rustle and the water trickling down from the earlier day's rain. And it's alive. And so you're not the top of the food chain, so you feel a little bit vulnerable. And I heard this plane, and I'd been there for about a week, and I hadn't heard any planes, right? And I live in LA, and there's helicopters around all the time. And I hadn't heard any planes in a while, and I could hear, this one was up there. This one was up like 38,000, maybe 40,000 feet. It was way up there. And so I asked Scott the next day, I said, you know, what is that? And he goes, yeah, there's one flight from Brazil that comes over that part of the Amazon every 2 weeks or so, he said. And while I was there, I was like, wow, I haven't heard a plane in a long time. And then I just thought about it for a second. I was like, what plane flies up that high? And bomber planes fly very high so that they can, ground troops can't see them. Maybe they don't get picked up by radar. And I just imagined, because the Iraq War was going on at the time, and I just imagined, you know, and I was in that raw state, just bombs being dropped out of that plane. And just boom, like 2012 was approaching. I was studying, you know, the Hopi prophecy, the Mayan calendar. I was going to the Mayan temples. I went to all the Incan temples while I was there in Peru. And you could tell that there was something else up. Like, who built Sacsayhuaman, the Temple of Lightning? 3/4 of a mile long, 3 stories tall, with stones that are 180 tons. Nothing could lift them. It's like, what else has been, what other technology has been on this planet? And so I was just, you know, Peru is a very enchanting place, and I was really amazed. And there I am in the jungle, raw, vulnerable, got the ayahuasca in me, had some powerful awakenings, visions, and I'm just thinking, oh my God, bombs could start dropping out of there. You know, what are we doing to our brothers and sisters in Iraq? I was like, wow, this is such a powerful experience. And then I thought about George Bush, and I was like, wow, everybody hates that guy. And I was like, and it just made me realize at the time, and, you know, being all doped up on ayahuasca, you know, I was just like, that guy needs love, right? Because he's just lost. And, you know, and I'm in that state. And so I felt that, because I'm not a big fan of the Bush family and all the stuff the neocons did, and proxy wars and oil wars and all that stuff. And so I was just like, wow, man. And then I just started thinking about our responsibility and about the oil exploration. And then when I was leaving the Amazon, I remember coming through Iquitos, and all those logging barges and logs I saw going down the tributaries. I saw the sawdust, and I made a video with this as well. I saw a mountain full of sawdust. And I saw the 2x4s on other shipping barges that were going to go to Home Depot, basically. And I was just like, what the fuck are we doing as a species? Like, what are we doing? The Amazon has I'm feeling the power of these plants. My business partner, John Easterling, brought these, you know, into the Western world. He had compromised liver situation. He basically had hepatitis, and he was on his deathbed, and the Indians saved his life with these plants. Some of these plants specifically in this formula. And he realized he was a medicine. He was a treasure hunter, and so he realized, you know, he was looking for the lost cities of gold, El Dorado, and he was trading monkey bones and textiles and stuff. And he realized the true treasure that he was looking for, he was cutting down with machetes, you know, looking for this other treasure. And so it was the plants that he ended up taking out of the Amazon. And the formula that helped heal his liver, that basically saved his life, was uña de gato, Uncaria tomatoso is the Latin name. It's cat's claw, antifungal, antibacterial. Paw de arco, antifungal, huge antifungal. Jatuba, chuchuwasi. Those are big trees in the Amazon, and it's moist down there. So the barks of those trees, they need to be resistant to fungus, mold, and bacteria. So when you boil that stuff down and you drink it, paw de arco, cat's claw, these are all woods. These are all like woods. Cat's claw is a vine, And so cat's claw, for example, has reverse, what is that called? Reverse something inhibition. So it doesn't allow the, like a virus to get at you. And so reverse transcript inhibition, look that one up. Yeah, it doesn't allow viruses to replicate. It really jumpstarts the immune system is really what it does. And so really powerful plants. And so I'm working with this company and I'm researching the plants, and I got the ayahuasca in me, and I hear the plane. I think, what the fuck are we doing? Dropping bombs on other brothers and sisters and burning oil. It's like, it's time to upgrade beyond oil, and it's destroying the rainforest, and then we're cutting it down for lumber. And I'm like, this is a ding-dong move for sure. And so I came out of the jungle, and I had the vision in the Amazon about certified health nut that week. And it was an amalgamation of my on-camera career and my natural medicine studies, and I was doing stand-up comedy at the time, and certified health nut was born. I was like, that was fucking funny. And I came out of the jungle, and YouTube was a brand new reality. And I had all this exotic footage of Elisa Vargas Fernandez, the shaman that I work with, and she had that Shipipo paint with the ayahuasca drawings, the psychedelic patterns that they use in their textiles, drawn all over her face. And I posted this stuff up on the internet, and people were really interested, but it was still esoteric. Ayahuasca was still, not really known, and natural medicine. I mean, a lot of people beat me up on look at my videos many years ago. You could probably still see the comments there where people were like, you got any scientific proof for that? What are you a doctor? How do you know that? And all sorts of stuff. And which is understandable, because most people are programmed, and the pharmaceutical companies, they fund the research studies, and the Rockefeller Foundation started the American Medical Association, and they fund the universities and the studies, and people are all on lockdown. Their mind's on lockdown, right? Because it's all monopoly control mechanisms. And so it's understandable. Hey, this isn't what I learned in school. I learned that you got to go to the guy with the white coat and trust him. And who the fuck are you? You don't have an MD. You don't have alphabet soup behind your name. What the fuck do you know? And so I had to deal with a lot of that. And so my book, Ripped at 50, A Journey to Self-Love, is an end around, because I thought people would really care. And I thought, bam, I'm Troy Casey. I'm going to give it the old college try. I'm going to be like, hey guys, Rainforest, amazing. Herbs are amazing. It's just like, you can get so healthy, and we're cutting the thing down, and the cure for cancer's down here, and it's the lungs of the planet, and I tried to say it in my little funny certified health nut kind of way, and present it, and I only got so far. And we had the Cousteau Society, and I grew up in the 70s with Jacques Cousteau. I love Jacques Cousteau. We had the Cousteau Society say that we were the solution to saving the rainforest, right? The company I was working with, the solution to saving the rainforest. I took that to heart. I took that documentary. We took about 10 minutes off that documentary that featured our company, and I spread it all over the place. That's how I built my speaking career. I went out there and told everybody, commandeer microphones, commandeer stages, created my own events. And I just started speaking. Again, you can see all this stuff, on my YouTube channel. And I think I got a video, Green Entrepreneur, and when I was working for the Amazon Herb Company, still relevant today about doing eco-commerce, right? Sacred commerce. And so that's how I figured all this stuff out, how to, what's the evolution? We got to change all the systems, commerce, farming, geopolitics, energy, education, everything's in lockdown. And so for the past 13 years, that's what I've been doing. Just raising awareness as much as possible. And I tell you, you hear it from the successful people. The one thing you got to do is keep going, persevere. And my Amazon herb business, my business partner, John Easterling, he married Olivia Newton-John, and, he was a great visionary, and then he kind of, he was going out and tour with her, and I was ready to grow that motherfucker. I was ready to like, make it grow to $1 billion company and really change the world, raise the frequency and vibration, get these plants into people's bodies, commercialize it, And because we have the solution for saving the rainforest, the Indians harvest the plants grow back. When you clear cut it, the rainforest is gone. You can't replant millions of years, billions of years of ecological development. Hello? Planting trees in the Amazon doesn't work. You need the biodiversity. You need the ecosystem intact. You need to stop cutting it down and create sustainability around it. And we had that solution. The natural stewards of the land were the Shipibo Indians, were the Shipibo, the Kanibo, and about 14 other tribes that have been down there for a very long time. And we were all about empowering them, because remember, the economics, the world, the banking structure, it's all down there. So the Indians are also working with money now. They do trade still and stuff, but they were still working with money. And some of the kids were seeing Britney Spears on TV and moving off to the city. Connection. I don't know what's going on with my connection here. And so it was just complicated down there, right, guys? So I'm trying to explain this, tie it all in real quick. So we had the solution, and I did as much business as I could. I got better at business. I got better at communication, and then I got so successful with that company, we called on consultants, and we merged with another company, and it just didn't work, and things changed. So I got a lot of respect for business, because not a good idea is enough. Things shift, and I was successful, right? I was so successful, we forced change with the company, because the company had a ceiling, and we weren't able to grow beyond like $5 million a year or something like that. Something that wasn't that big. Maybe we were doing $10 or $13 million a year. And so we merged with another company, and the company watered the products down, and the mission just got, and Olivia Newton-John and John Easterling, I think they just, I think they were a little frustrated too. And so the project got scrapped. And that was part of, when I lived in the Moldy House, that was all going down at the same time. This was about 2012, 2013. And I was getting sick at the time. My business was going down. And I was getting suicidal thoughts. I mean, I was losing my cookies. And I know better than to attach myself, my ego, to my work or what I'm doing. But I really cared. I gave a shit, right? And I was doing my best. The old Troy Casey college try, man. I was kicking ass and taking names. And so it didn't work, man. So I had to go back to the drawing board. And my second child came, and there was just a lot of stress and financial stress. It was right after 2008 crisis as well. They bailed out the banks in 2009. The money got funnier, right? They pumped in $3 trillion worth of paper. That's how I figured all this stuff out. I'm like, what the fuck is going on this planet? How do you put it all together? And you read John Perkins' book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and you see that all these proxy wars and these oil wars and how they're created and manipulated, and government markets are manipulated, and they take natural resources from third world countries, and if they don't give them up, they create coup d'etats, and if that doesn't work, they send in the American military, which, by the way, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, that's what happens. And so I'm watching all this stuff, and then I see Bush go out of power, and I'm like, all right, good, change, right? And who's this other guy coming down the pipeline? Hope and change, black man in the White House. I'm like, all right, we're progressing, right? And then that motherfucker's a globalist, right? He started more wars than Bush, dropped more bombs than any president in the history of the United States of America. Start Yemen, Syria, Libya. Libya is crimes against humanity, guys. Are you crazy? And Hillary Clinton's his little henchman. I'm like, holy shit. And then people got suckered into that. Second time around, it was like, yeah, Barack Obama, our savior, hope and change. Nothing fucking changed. That guy was the devil with a smile on his face. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? And people bought that cookie left, right, and center. I'm like, holy fuck, how did that happen, right? Total bait and switch, man. It was a good one. It was a good one, right? They tricked me in the beginning, but it wasn't long after I was like, hey, no, this guy, no, he's working for the same team. These motherfuckers are the same. Republican, Democrat, it's the same. Until this fucking next guy that came into power.